Today we're taking a closer look at rice in Farming Simulator 25, including the multiple stages of the crop throughout the year and some new equipment. Rice will be coming to the base game and will be available for all platforms PC, Mac, PS5, and Xbox Series. Giant Software also hinted at new productions that use rice, so get subscribed that way you don't miss when those are announced. And of course, if you haven't pre-ordered FS25 yet and you want to, check the link in the description for the base game as well as the year one bundle, and let's check out the new crops coming to FS25. Just like the information we received in the blogs about spinach, peas, and green beans, we have a full growth sheet detailing all of the seeding and harvesting information about both kinds of rice. Speaking of, we're going to be getting long grain rice, which is done with a normal seeder or harvester, and regular rice, which is just called rice, and that's done with specialized machinery. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it all. With long grain rice, we can expect a maximum yield per hectare of 18,000 liters, with an average selling price of $1,589 per 1,000 liters, but that's in easy mode. You're going to need 500 liters of seed per hectare and takes 5 months to grow. You're going to be planting long grain rice in April and harvesting in September. Numbers for regular rice are much different. We can expect a maximum yield of 13,200 liters per hectare with an average selling price of $3,300 per 1,000 liters in easy mode, almost twice that of long grain rice. You're only going to need 156 liters of seed per hectare. It takes 4 months to grow instead of 5. You're going to be planting rice between April and May and harvesting between August and September. There are 6 different growth stages after the initial seeding for both, which include harvested and withered. Rice takes significantly less resources than long grain, but the time invested could come at a cost of time versus work. Before seeding rice in the fields, we're going to need to create these fields. Both types of rice are planted in rice paddies called rice fields in FS25. This is a special type of field similar to that of grapes or olives from FS22, but this is an actual field that you create. Jump into the build mode and go to cultivation and draw your field with your mouse or controller using points around the edges. We can also see the control buttons used, including add corner, finish, remove last corner, change placement height, toggle snapping on and off, and zoom camera. I'm most interested in the remove last corner, as that has a undo button kind of thing, but this is all we get to see right now. Hopefully this comes to placeables as well. Regardless if you're doing a regular rice or long grain rice field, the field creation itself will be exactly the same. Giants have mentioned previously that once created, rice fields will flatten out the area, so make sure to choose a flat spot ahead of time to avoid any issues with the terrain. It will also add a small lip around the outside of the field after you're done. That way it can flood. Now that we've got the field created, let's put some rice in the ground. For regular rice, or what we'll likely end up be calling wet rice because terminology is a bit confusing, but that's a rant for another day, the rice will be put into the ground using a special planter. You can buy rice saplings from the store like you would seeds, or you can grow them in a special greenhouse dedicated to cultivating rice saplings. It is recommended that if you plan on doing a lot of rice, to invest in those greenhouses. However, this only applies to regular rice and not long grain. Once you've got your rice loaded up onto the planter, head out to the field. Rice fields are pre-limed when you create them, and the planter will handle fertilization, so it's a fairly easy process in the beginning. Make sure to flood the field before planting regular rice saplings, but otherwise, you're good to go. Now let's talk about the water pump. The pump will automatically flood the field with the right amount of water when you activate it. However, you are going to need to check the pumps daily for each field to make sure that they maintain the proper level, aka make sure they got water in them. If your field dries out, you will lose saplings and the yield will go down. Once it's time to harvest, all of the water will have been absorbed and the field will be dry. Grab your rice harvester and get to work. You could store the harvested rice, sell it, or even process it into products. However, we don't know what these are yet. After the harvest, make sure to lime your field. For regular rice, lime is only needed after a few harvests, implying that you won't need to do it after a few times, which is kind of neat. Cultivate, flood the field, and you're ready to do it all over again. That's regular rice. So now let's jump over to long grain rice. The process is similar, but not the same. You won't need any water in the field before seeding. Just grab some seed and your favorite seeder and get to work. Once you're done, fertilize and then flood the field. Long grain rice requires different water levels at different growth stages. But again, the pump is very smart and knows exactly what you need and when you need it. Well, you just have to activate it and you're good to go. But if you don't, you will lose some of the rice saplings. Harvest is simple here as well and straightforward for long grain. Just grab a combine harvester and a regular grain head and harvest it up like you would wheat or barley. All water will be absorbed by the time it's ready for harvest as well. You can store the crop, sell it, use it for productions, just like regular rice. You'll have to put lime in the fields after the harvest, but Giants didn't mention if it's like regular rice or not. The blog says nothing about anything about doing it a few times, so expect this to be just like any other field. You'll need to do it every time. Oh, and don't forget to cultivate the field, and you're ready to do it all over again. Heads up though, rice can wither, even with all that water in the field, so make sure you get the rice out of the ground when it's ready to harvest, or it's going to be wasted, and you're just going to have to till it under and do it all over again. I do want to take a closer look at a few of the screens that were shown off today. The first one is this one in our build mode. We can see that things are completely changed up here from going at the bottom, and now everything's on the left-hand side, and then we've got our map in the middle, kinda. At the top, we can see advanced control, start a new field, toggle snapping on and off, and zoom camera. So that's kind of neat. Logos on the left side imply that we've got like buildings at the top, and then maybe productions to the below that, animals, possibly decorations, and then finally at the very bottom of that, landscaping. We know that it's going to cost $1,500 to make a rice field, and they say rice is grown in rice fields, which can be flooded with water. However, one of the big things that I have yet to be seen is how in the world do we actually put the pump down? Is the pump automatic? Do we have to place our own down? How does it work? Here's another look at things, and this is where we got to see all of the different bits at the top. So we have like add corner, finish, remove last corner, change placement height, toggle snapping, zoom camera. I'm real interested in that remove last corner thing. Now, I can see it like with this being much easier because obviously we've got these green lines. These are just like the next snapping bits, and wherever your very last point of interest is going to be, that's where that green line that's on the top is going to snap to. So I would imagine that this is easier to do than placing a building down and then undoing that, as there's really nothing going on here other than a little green line. Left-hand side of the screen shows us literally everything that we've already seen, so nothing new there. And other than the fact that there's $999 million on this account, nice. Don't really see anything too different. Here's another screenshot of them creating one of the rice fields. As mentioned, down at the bottom, you can kind of see that the left side is a little bit more yellow than the green triangle that's going on there, or polygon. I don't know, there's 4 sides there. It's weird. We've got 2 really, really long sides, but the bottom one, this line right here along the bottom, is only lining up with the most recent point of interest. So you can see here where they've added 2 or 3 already, and now they're getting ready to add the next one. Once that's done, it will, well, create some ridges around the outside, which are going to look like this. You can see all the way around the field where the edge kind of pops up a little bit. We do have our water pump way out here in the distance, but yeah, not much else other than that. I do believe that this is on the Asian map. Just kind of getting that vibe. We've got some beehives on the left-hand side. We have our house in the far left, and then we've got some silos up there at the top. One other thing that I'm a little bit interested with, but we don't have any information yet on it, is with the ridges that are created on the sides of this field. Can we still plant stuff there? I would assume so, but I'm curious because all of the demos that we've seen so far, there's nothing on the edges. Here's one of our special greenhouses that are used to make the rice saplings. I believe just like all the other greenhouses, all we need to do is bring this some water. Would be nice if we could add other stuff, like, I know like rice, well, or most things will take what, water and like manure sometimes. Can we put seeds in here, please? Or some solid fertilizer or something? That's way more realistic than just throwing water in. And I know I'm sitting here talking about realism. It's me, I get it. But still, would be nice if we could deliver some seeds here and put the water in and then go from there. I think that'd be a little bit more realistic. Still cool though, and I do like this option. Here's another shot of that, and I believe this is how the pallets are going to spawn on the outside. They are spread out a little further than I would like to see, but again, I'm being nitpicky here. We've got our Iseki Japan planter, transplanter right up there on the right-hand side. Otherwise, not a whole lot extra here. Just wanted to show you the rice saplings in pallets. And here's the inside of the greenhouse. If you want to take a look at it, we've got some different breaks in the concrete steps on that. That was kind of neat. And then you can see all of the rice saplings in there. Of course, these are going to probably pop up as soon as you put water in visually. So it gives you like a visual cue. Not sure how realistic it's going to be. And then it'll pop those pallets on the outside. Now here's a really good screenshot of one of the fields that has been flooded. It's also A little, I say flat. You can see the road at the top kind of dips down a little bit, and then we get to see this whole area seems flat-ish, so I'm hoping that it will be. Nonetheless, it is cool to see the water going in. It's cool to see the ripples in the water, and I love seeing the outside edge as well here. This is going to be fun, and it's going to be really interesting to kind of make these fields. One thing that I am still a little bit curious of, though, is how to delete them. What happens when you delete this field? Is the ridge on the outside of the field still there? Is the field size still the same? How are things different? Can you create new fields within this rice paddy? How's this going to work? There's so much that I'm guessing Giants don't think people are going to do. And those are the things that I want to test. I want to know now, but hey, we're getting the game in a couple weeks anyway. So we'll just have to wait. Out of all of the screenshots that we saw, this one probably stood out second or third to me because we get to see the manage rice field setup. So field number 1, size, it shows us the hectare, crop type, long grain rice, it knows what's in there, and then the water level. So I guess we come up to the water pump itself, and then it's going to show us this. We can actually empty it, which is neat, and then we have flood as well. So this is showing that water level is at 53%, and I don't know if it's going to highlight if you go over the flood or empty buttons or anything like that, but this is what we see right now. I don't know exactly what's up, but yeah, here's that. We also have what look to be water like in the background. I think there's a lot more here that we're just not seeing. See if we can zoom in on anything. We've got a gas station, possibly. This still looks like waterways running down the middle, and then we've got rice, which looks to be in the second growth stage, if I'm not mistaken here. Still pretty cool. Hey, I'm digging it. Not in the exact same spot, but this is the last screenshot that I wanted to take a closer look at. Everything else we've seen before, so I'm not really worried about that, and I also don't want to waste your time and push it on you either. So this right here has one of our player characters staring down the water pump, which we've seen a couple different versions of now, making me think that we may get new ones or may have some other ones as well. Maybe there's different versions. Maybe some of them automatically work and we never have to do anything with them. Hey, I'll pay the extra cash for that. You just let me know. Nonetheless, this field looks like it's got the long grain rice, or maybe it's got regular rice in it, but it's maybe in the second growth stage or first growth stage. It's a very small stage, regardless of what it is. And then the water's going in, but it's getting ready to rise. Obviously, this doesn't like run around. You can't pick up water with a bucket. It just fills it up. It's a fill plane, basically. It comes from below the map and pops up. So if you go under the map, you'll be able to see it. Nonetheless, this is very cool. Very excited about this. Hey, rice coming to Farm Sim. That's awesome. And that is it. That is all of the information that we received today on rice. Is there anything that you think I missed, or was there anything you wanted to see more of? Let me know. Don't forget, FS25 will be available on Tuesday, November the 12th, 2024. If you still haven't pre-ordered yet, now's a great time to do that. You can check the link in the description for pre-orders for both versions of FS25 on PC. And console players, don't forget, you can also still pre-order on the Microsoft and Sony stores. If you've got any questions about rice or anything else related to FS25, let me know. You can check out the other videos on the screen right now for more Farm Sim 25 coverage. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.